Hi there, vinyl community. It's Keith here again to do another featured artist video this time, and this time it's going to be for Robert Z or Z, however you pronounce it, and it's going to be featuring my Yes collection. He made a Yes thread sometime last year or the end of last year, but I didn't respond to it then, but I thought I'd get things together now. And these are going to be in order of release, although I acquired them at different times. I do remember seeing the first ever TV appearance of them on the children's show. I think it was called Magpie or something like that, on BBC or on British TV. And I was impressed with the music, but I was somehow not so sure about the vocals of John Anderson at the time. But after a while, I've acquired the taste for it, so I'm started to collect. But anyway, first I'm going to show is the first album, and this is I picked this up last year when I was in England. And where is it coming up? It's on the Plum label. I don't know if it's the first issue, but it has something in the dead wax. Where was it now? Can't locate it. No, sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that. I looked at something recently, and there was something in the dead wax, Kev or something, or KEIT. Anyway, I'll sort that out in a minute. So this has the lyric sheet with it, so it's complete. Not sure when I picked this time and a word up. I think it was before I came to Germany. This also has the lyric sheet with it, and is also on the red Plum label, but it's a different label here. Yeah. And I was curious to know more about it, and when I read, it's not an English release, and when I read in the mauve part somewhere there, it says made in France. And I don't know. Oh, that's right. It's published in 1973, so this is 2 years later than it was originally released. Is it? Yep. 2 or 3 years later. But it's interesting to know more about that release. The Yes album, featuring Tony Keys again. This is when I began to appreciate the sound of John Anderson's vocals, and this wasn't. I bought this later. Yes, it wasn't in the first pressing. and this doesn't have any extra information. No. So the first album I did buy is Fragile, and I guess that was obviously inspired by the cover, but I had become to appreciate their music by then. It's difficult to get used to this tractor front display. So this has the booklet attached. There are different versions of this. I really like that last picture. So yes, this is the inside sleeve has been customized by cutting out a music press ad and taping it. And yes, it's a red plum. Some people say it's orange plum, but it's definitely, for me, it's signal red, so it's a red plum. And I think this from the Dead Wax is a second pressing. Wait a minute. There's A2, yes, and B1. So yes. It's around about that time that I was at an all-night performance of Soft Machine and related bands, Matching Mole and Elton Dean. And while we were sitting there waiting for the bands to play, the whole of the first album was played, and that's when I began to realise that I liked John Anderson's voice. So the next I have on CD. I did buy this originally when it was released, but for some reason better known to me at the time, I took it back and exchanged it for something else. But I do remember seeing the premiere performance of it at Crystal Palace, along with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. That was an excellent gig. So next we have Tales of Topographic Ocean. Tales from Topographic Ocean. I have shown these recently in my Roger Dean featured artist video, and again spines have suffered because of cat abuse. I've had to cohabit with at least 2 pairs of them over the years. And then we have Yes Songs. This is the I have 2 versions of this. This is the triple gatefold. Yes, and as Mark, Dr. Deadwax says, it's probably the only prog album you need to have. Yes, I could. Yes, I don't know. No, I would like to have them all. I don't want to limit myself just with one triple album. So, Relayer comes next. Oh yes, I forgot to show on there we have the customised inner sleeve, which again can cut out the music press, and the specially designed label. I forgot to show Tales of Topographic Ocean label. Let's have a look. One of them. I think they're all the same. And yes, this featured Patrick Morantz. Yeah, Patrick Morantz was on this. And they stole him from the forget it now. I'll show you in a minute. Yes, we have Yes Songs. With the inner sleeve and also with a special cut out again, special label. Moving on to a non-Roger Dean sleeve. I guess this is Hypnosis. Sure, it looks like it would be. This came from Osborne's of Danbury in Essex. So, inner sleeve. What else is there here? Oh, it's a postcard that seemed related to the NatWest Bank, isn't it? I think. Yes. Rick Wakeman was back with them for this album. Tormato. Tormato. Yes. Again, the inner sleeve. And also specially designed label. It's difficult to pick out individual tracks that I like from each album because each album is complete in itself. So. And I agreed with Mark, Dr. Deadwax, on his opinion of this when he showed it recently. This is a fine album, yes. And I was aware of Buggles and their contribution. They actually made one or two tracks on their own album. Into the Lens was one of them, I think. With it. Inner label, with the inner insert. And again, I don't know what pressing that is. But this is something I picked up in England again last year when I was there. Moving on to the more stripped down image. This was obviously a sign of the times, and elaborate album covers were not the done thing, and the fresh computer graphics were all the rage, with the in the sleeve again, and some Pecko this time. And of course, a favourite track from this album is Owner of a Lonely Heart. And I remember seeing the video that went to that on MTV. I was very impressed. And some time ago I picked up this CD, which is got a couple of remixes of Owner of a Lonely Heart. And there's the Wondrous mix, which is maybe a minute longer. And then there's the Close to the Edge mix, which has been remixed by 808 State. Should check them out if you're not sure who they are. They were 90s techno dance act from London. And then the last mix is Not Fragile mix, also by 808 State. If you get a chance to locate these mixes, it's a good idea to have a listen to them. They're really interesting, kind of chill out versions of it. And next up is Big Generator, again with modern computer imaging. And design label. Actually, it's on the ATCO again. Yep. Picked that up not so long ago here in Germany. Most of the recent Yes albums are German issues or European. I don't have Talk on vinyl, and I'm not sure if I'd bother with it because it, for me, wasn't quite right. Although there's one track on here I really like, yes, that's Where Will You Be. The rest is more heavy and straightforward. And I had this one on disc too for some time until I found a nice copy showing the full artwork. And the inner sleeve, and this time on Arista. Nothing special for me in the dead wax there, don't think. Well, there is, but I can't see it. Too late. There's something written there. But I guess all this information is well covered already. So this is my Roger Dean artwork video. There we go. It's a nice etiquette there, label. So I'm going to title this video Yes and Beyond. So it's going to be featuring the solo acts. And first up we have Chris Squire, Fish Out of Water. Very nice album to have. Got the poster of it, and course, the inner sleeve, very nicely designed, and special label. I mentioned, yes, Patrick Moraz, and I couldn't remember, but it was Refugee, who they stole from, which was unfortunate because not long before Refugee formed, Keith Emerson abandoned them and formed ELP. But this is a fine album. It's Dave. No, wait a minute. Yes, this is on the Charisma label. Right, way up, please. There we go. Lee Jackson and Blinky Davison. And drums and bass. Yeah. So again with the inner sleeve, and highly recommend the Canyon Suite. Yes. I think before I go further, we can introduce Pete Banks. I picked this CD up last year. This is fairly recent. This is mainly instrumentals, I think. They're recorded in England. Titled Instinct. That's interesting. If you can check that out, find a locate a copy. If you're a Yes enthusiast. Of course, there's John Anderson's Elias of Sun Hillow. Fabulous artwork this time. Now, who's the artist here? Does it say? Do I remember? Illustrated by David Rowe and art direction by Hypnosis. Vaguely similar to the art style of Jim Fitzpatrick, who designed covers for Thin Lizzy. Wait, there we go. Sleeve. And by the way, did anybody know that it was Jim Fitzpatrick who designed the famous icon of Che Guevara? He designed that way back earlier and gave it the idea to somebody and lost control of it. But I think he has. I've seen a video recently that he has recently acquired the rights to it back and is reproducing it. But it's an icon image that's known all over the world. There's a little further digression. And we have animation from John Anderson. The lyrics in the sleeve. This is a Polydor and then a Polydor. Some nice tracks on this, seem to remember. Haven't played it in a long while, but it's worth having. And this gets played every year because it's John Anderson's 3 Ships. and featuring some Christmas carols. So this is a must on Christmas Day. Yes, 3 ships, Ding Dong Merrily on High, The Holly and the Ivy, Day of Days, and O Holy Night, and Jingle Bells. Yes, it's very nice atmosphere for early on Christmas morning. Also have a 12-inch version, which has Easier Said Than Done, 3 Ships, and O Holy Night. More of John and Vangelis, friends of Mr. Cairo. Interesting label here. What's this? Oh, it's just a specially designed logo. It is also well documented. And I have short stories, vocals by John. And I always say Vangelis. I'm led to believe that's wrong. That Vangelis, well, that doesn't sound quite right for me. I've always been hearing it in England anyway, pronounced as Vangelis. Although even that is wrong. I've heard it is Vangelis. The N is not pronounced in Greece, so I'm led to believe. But anyway, we know who we're talking about, however we pronounce it. I wonder if he himself has specified which is the best way to pronounce his name. Maybe I should listen to a few interviews with John talking about his work with the man. Again on Polydor. So more featuring. No, don't we come here? Yes, we come here. CD version first. Guitaro. John is featured on vocals. Don't know if that's focused. Featuring vocals by John Anderson. And which tracks is he on? Doesn't specify. I think Lady of Dreams, Agreement, Island of Life. Yes, I think it's 3 songs he's featured on. That's something not worth seeking out if you're not aware of it. So, last 3 or 4 now, I think. King Crimson. Lizard. Is this? No. Yep, Lizard. And maybe many of you are already aware that this features John's vocals on Prince Rupert Awakes. I think this is an original copy on, whatever, maybe I haven't checked that out, but it's on the pink rim island label. I know this was bought very soon after its release. One of my few remaining King Crimson albums from my original collection. The rest were left behind. Yes. Then we have Bill Bruford with King Crimson on red. Again on Island. Right. There we go. That I had in England originally. I brought that with me. So, but my original copy of Lark's Tongue in Aspic was left behind. So I picked this rather scrubby looking copy up very cheaply here in Germany, and incidentally it was the day after I made a comment to Zach there, and saying, oh, I never find this kind of thing in Germany, and then the next day I found this. There's the lyrics, and again on Polydor. Yeah. Last but not least, and it's going to be a link to my next or a future video. We have In Search of Ancient Gods. By Absolutely Elsewhere, featuring William Bruford on percussion. Yeah, very nice booklet here with many of the theories of Eric Van Daniken, not Donegan, Daniken, and his theories of aliens have been here before, leaving their traces, which I'm rather skeptical of myself when you think about it, but some of these things are very fantastic when you look at them. And the music is electronic in its nature. This is on Warner Brothers. I picked this up recently from Discogs. There's a copy that came from England, so I was really pleased to have that. So, till the next video, maybe it'll be over electronica and the like. Maybe not. I don't know what's coming up yet next. I'll see you then. Okay, this is going to... oh, it's 33 minutes. Wow, that's a long one for me. Hope you enjoyed it and endured it. Till then, bye.